Welcome back to The Lost Tactician, where we unearth the forgotten ingenuity that shaped history's bloodiest conflicts. Today we're stepping into the sweltering heat of a 17th century forge, where master craftsmen wielded hammers instead of assembly lines and transformed raw iron into weapons that could shatter castle walls and sink warships. Imagine forging a weapon powerful enough to change the course of history without a single factory. How did master metallurgists create massive cannons that could withstand incredible pressure, using only ingenuity and raw materials? We're diving into the astonishing, lost art of pre-industrial cannon making that gave nations a forgotten tactical edge. The cannons that thundered across European battlefields in the 1600s represented more than brute force. They embodied a sophisticated understanding of materials and physics that existed long before those sciences were formally codified. While we often imagine industrial-age factories when we think of artillery production, the truth is far more remarkable. In workshops illuminated only by forge fire and daylight, smiths created weapons capable of withstanding pressures that would tear apart lesser constructions. These weren't crude tubes stuffed with gunpowder and hope. They were precision instruments, built layer by painstaking layer, through techniques that married the ancient art of cooperage with emerging metallurgical knowledge. The men who crafted these weapons understood something profound, that strength comes not just from thickness but from structure, from the way metal is worked, heated and bound together. This wasn't merely craftsmanship, it was tactical advantage crystallized in iron. The journey began in the earth itself, where iron ore held secrets that only experienced eyes could discern. Not all iron was created equal for cannon making. Smiths sought ores that would yield wrought iron, a material fundamentally different from the brittle cast iron that plagued early artillery. Wrought iron possessed a fibrous quality, almost like wood grain, that gave it resilience under stress. The smelting process separated slag from pure metal, but the real magic happened in what came next. Before any forging could begin, smiths heated iron bars repeatedly, understanding intuitively what we now call thermal conditioning. This preheating process wasn't merely about making metal malleable. It was about preparing the crystalline structure within the iron to accept the violent reshaping that would follow. The tools arrayed around the forge told their own story. Massive, water-powered tilt hammers that could deliver blows no human arm could match, mandrels of various diameters serving as the skeleton around which the cannon would take shape, and banks of charcoal furnaces capable of reaching the white-yellow heat necessary for true forge welding. Each piece of equipment represented generations of accumulated knowledge, refined through countless failures and hard-won successes. The construction method itself was nothing short of genius. Picture a wooden wine barrel, and you'll understand the foundational concept. Long iron staves, each heated until they glowed with an almost solar intensity, were arranged in a circle around the central mandrel. But unlike a cooper's simple assembly, these iron staves had to become a single, continuous tube. The smiths hammered them together with precise, rhythmic strikes, knowing that the white-hot metal would literally weld itself together under the right conditions and pressure. This wasn't merely joining metal pieces. This was creating a unified structure at the molecular level, fusing iron to iron through sheer heat and force. Yet the craftsman understood that a simple tube, however well welded, would never withstand the explosive fury of gunpowder ignition. The solution lay in solving what modern engineers call hoop stress, the tendency of a pressurized cylinder to burst outward along its circumference. The 17th century solution was, well, really quite elegant. Reinforcing rings, heated until they were red hot, and then slipped over the barrel while expanded by the heat. As these hoops cooled, they contracted, squeezing the inner barrel with tremendous force. This process created a layered structure where each ring added not just thickness, but compressive strength that worked to counteract the explosive pressure from within. Multiple rings could be layered, each one contributing to the cannon's ability to contain forces that honestly would have just shattered a cast piece. The breech, which is where the pressure peaked during firing, received special attention. A solid tapered block was forge-welded between the staves, creating a seal that really had to be perfect. Any weakness here meant catastrophic failure, the kind that killed gun crews and frankly lost battles. Quality control in the 17th century was, well, brutal and unforgiving. Newly forged cannons underwent proof firing with double or even triple powder charges. If the barrel survived without cracking or bulging, it passed. But, successful cannons delivered advantages that really transcended mere firepower. These forge-welded pieces were notably lighter than cast-iron equivalents of the same caliber, making them just invaluable as mobile field artillery. An army that could move its guns faster, could choose its ground, could respond to threats, could concentrate fire where the enemy was weakest. On the battlefield, this translated to tactical flexibility that commanders prized above raw destructive power. Naval applications proved equally significant, where every pound of weight affected a ship's handling and capacity. The construction technique even enabled early breech-loading designs, where the entire rear section could be removed for loading, dramatically increasing rate of fire compared to muzzle-loading alternatives. The sophistication of these techniques resonates through centuries. Modern gun barrels still employ layered construction principles, using different steel alloys in concentric layers to manage heat, pressure, and wear. The concept of pre-stressing structures through thermal expansion and contraction appears in everything from modern rifle barrels to pressure vessels. These 17th century smiths, working by firelight and experience, had discovered fundamental truths about how materials behave under stress. They solved engineering problems through empirical observation and incremental refinement, without benefit of materials science textbooks or computer simulations. Their legacy reminds us that human ingenuity, when confronted with genuine challenges, finds solutions that endure. The forge-welded cannons of the 17th century stand as monuments to an age when manufacturing meant mastery, when weapons were crafted rather than mass-produced, and when tactical advantage came from understanding materials at their most fundamental level. If this glimpse into lost military technology has sparked your curiosity, hit that like button and subscribe to The Lost Tactician. We're constantly uncovering the forgotten techniques, the survival methods, and the tactical innovations that shaped history's crucible. Share this with anyone who appreciates how ingenuity triumphs over limitation. Until next time, stay tactical